Okay, this is a brand new product. This is called Stellar Joe Coffee. It's a pure liquid coffee extract. This is a 69-to-1 ratio. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to just make a hot cup of coffee. This is a new patented squeeze bottle. Now what you do with this is you just squeeze the bottle and it'll measure exactly how much product you want. So if you want multiple cups of coffee, you just keep squeezing the bottle. Okay? So that's how that works. Now, using it live here with coffee, basically, in this particular case, I'm going to make a cup of coffee. Alright? So what I'll do is I'll just squeeze the Stellar Joe coffee up to the desired amount. Okay? Then I'll just unscrew the lid completely. And then I'll just pour that right in to hot water. In this case, sometimes what I'll do personally is I'll put the coffee in first because this basically stirs it as soon as you hit it with hot water. And you got a fresh cup of hot coffee. Okay? Now, just to take this one step further, a lot of times people are like, well, that's kind of dirty or whatever. Basically, it's just coffee. Don't sweat it. But what I do, for me personally, is I'll just come over and I'll just put a little bit of water in there. You don't have to fill it up because keep in mind, this is strong, all right? And then I'll just give it a shake, okay? And then I'll just pour the balance of whatever's left in the chamber, I'll pour it right into my cup of coffee, all right? And then you'll see you have a nice clean chamber, so you'll be able to read the lines real clear for your next time when you're measuring it. Then one last thing I want to tell you, touch base on, is the value here, okay? Stellar Joe coffee, you can make 80 cups of hot coffee for less than $1/4 a cup. Okay, this is Stellar Joe coffee. It's a new product out on the market. It's a liquid coffee extract, and what I want to show you here is I want to show you exactly how it works. Okay, what you do to start off with this is you just give it a shake, okay? It is a concentrate, so it will settle a little bit. Open it, it'll have a little tear here, you open it, and what you're going to end up doing when you open this thing is you're going to expose a chamber. And this is a measuring chamber, okay? And I'll show you why that's important. What you're dealing with when you're dealing with the concentrate is this is a 69-to-1 ratio. So this stuff is really strong. But what you'll see here is we're going to unscrew this cap. And just like this will show it a little better here. Okay, we have measuring lines here. And on the back of the bottle, you'll see that you want 2 to 3 cups, you want 4 cups, you want 5 to 6 cups. It just depends on how much coffee you're making. And what you do is you just loosen the cap, you give this a squeeze, and this bottle will measure out for you how much extract you want. In this case, I'm doing about 2 glasses, okay? So what I would do here, let's say I'm making, I'm going to make some iced coffee. So what I would do in this case, the advantage of Stellar Joe is you don't actually have to use ice, which is nice. If you got cold water, you got your coffee, any sweeteners or anything you might use for your coffee, but basically all you're going to do is I'm just going to pour ice water, not ice, so I don't need to dilute the product. I'm going to pour that into the cup. Depending on how much you want, I usually do a big cup. I'll put 2 or 3 cups of coffee in this at once. For me in the morning, this is nothing. I'll fill this up about a pint, and then what I'll do is I'll take 2 to 3 cups of Stellar Joe, and in this case, let's squeeze it out again. So I'll squeeze it out. I'll measure my amount out. That's about right, and I just pour that right into the ice water. And that's all you need. You got coffee right here. And this is iced coffee. You want to add your cream, you want to add your sweetener to that, and you're good to go. It's cold. You can fire it down. You can sip on it however you want. The advantage of this is you don't have to, I want to get something to stir that with. I'll just use this real quick. But basically, you just give it a stir, and it mixes seamlessly. The cool thing about this is, usually if you're using a hot coffee, you got to take the ice to cool it down. So it takes time to do that. When you're brewing your coffee, you got to heat the coffee up. It takes time to brew the coffee. Then you got to put ice on it. So now you got to cool it down, and you're also diluting the product. Okay. The advantage here is it's got to be fast and easy to use, and that's what Stellar Joe's about. It's kind of a we're selling you convenience, but we got a quality product. This is 100%. This is all natural. There's no preservatives. There's no junk in this thing. Okay, now we got our coffee, and here's the cleanup. Here's the cleanup. Here's what we're dealing with. Get ready, because there's a lot of work. Okay, what I like to do I like to clean. You don't have to clean this chamber out. When you get it, it might look like this a little bit because people might have squeezed something up in the chamber. It's not dirty. It's just coffee there. Another thing I want to bring up, do not refrigerate. This goes right on the shelf. Okay, you don't have to refrigerate. It's a huge advantage. Okay, now what I do, because I like this kind of clean, what I do is I just go over. You could do it with this water, but myself, I'll just put a little splash in here for me. And then what I do is I just put the cap back on, and I just shake it up like this. Now, keep in mind, when this is concentrated stuff, I'm not throwing this out. I'm putting it in. So I just pour it right back in. I'll put that right in my iced coffee, and you can see how nice and clean the chamber is now. Okay, now let me tell you about the value of Stellar Joe. This 8-ounce container will make 80 5-ounce cups of coffee for less than a cup. On the back of the bottle, you're going to notice that I have a recipe. It's called Breakfast Joe. It's a drink that I do every morning. I just love it for a lot of reasons. One, I like my coffee. Sometimes I don't drink straight coffee. It's hot. I have to wait for it. I got to make iced coffee. But what I do is I make specific recipes. I call this a Stellar Joe breakfast. On the back of the bottle, you'll see it says 10 milliliters of Stellar Joe, half banana, peanut butter, protein powder, splash of milk, squirt of chocolate syrup, ice, and blend. For me, I do it that way sometimes, but most of the times for me, I don't do a lot of milk and I don't do a lot of sugar. So I alleviate the chocolate syrup. I use a chocolate protein powder. That gives me the flavor profile I like. And I don't use any milk, personally. I use a banana, and that kind of creams it up. So I'm going to go through this and show you about how long it takes to make, and then we'll go from there. So what I do first usually is I take water, and I just take enough water, usually, because I make a big one. I make enough to make over a pint. So I'll put about a cup of water, maybe a little dash more in there, all right? And then what I do, I got this Vitamix machine. It just depends how you blend it. But what I do is I set that right on the blender. I have it on low, and then I just turn it on. I get it stirring. Then what I'll do is I'll start off, and I'll just drop my nanner in there. Okay? And then on a low speed, I'll just pour my berries in. Okay? And then what I'll do is I'll just put my protein powder, and then I'll drop my peanut butter in there. Alright? That'd be that. Okay? Now it's starting to do its deal. So what I'll do is I usually will just, even at this time, at a low speed, I'll just pour my ice right in. Okay? Put the lid on, now I'll fire it up. And because I put berries in, I hit it real good. Sometimes I do that berry mix where it has blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries all together. But you hit it good like that. Sometimes I make it a little icier because I take it to work on it. Okay, now I got all my ingredients in. Now I'm going to fire in my Joe. Now if I want 2 cups, 3 cups, whatever I want, I just give it a quick squeeze here, measure up my Joe, pour it right in the blender. In this case, I just do all my cleaning and rinsing right there. Rinse it off. Just finish it up a little bit, and I'm good to go. And that's your Stellar Joe coffee. Breakfast Joe. Now, I want to show you a couple other things because I like this too, and this just kind of shows the versatility of Stellar Joe. We got breakfast drinks you can make. Obviously, you can make your iced coffee, you make your hot coffee. But also, you're going to find that Stellar Joe, you have recipes. You want to do a tiramisu, your coffee, any kind of cooking. I got guys that do barbecue sauce with coffee, and when you do it with an extract, it works fantastic. But basically, this is pretty straightforward. You see, you're going to find a ton of cocktails that you're going to want to make with coffee. And this is the way to do it, again, because it's consistent and it's fast and easy to use. I'm just going to, real quick, I'll just do just a Bailey's and coffee. And you would measure out your coffee. In this case, same situation. I'll do it for about a cup, maybe a little stronger after dinner or something. And I'll just pour that in there. And then what I would do is I would take, you know, whichever liqueur I'm going to use. And then I would just pour in according to taste. So I would say somewhere right around that mark there. And then, look, you can do this with cold water and make a great iced Bailey's coffee after dinner drink. Or if you prefer and you'd like to make it hot, then you just add hot water. And I always kind of like to add it again, sometimes in a situation like this, and it makes a perfect Bailey's and coffee. Frangelico. You like espresso martinis? This thing is fantastic. Kahlua, vodka, your espresso, give it a good shake, put it on in the martini glasses, and it works perfect. You'll find you can find a ton of drinks online, coffee drinks. It's like unlimited, and they're so popular right now. Cheers.